This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Gittin Erev Yom Tov. Here we are at the precipice of Zman Simchasenu and the opportunity to Mekayim, the Daled Minim. I want to share with you the stipler in the Sefer Berachos Paretz brings, and this comes from the Shla HaKadosh in the name of the Arizal, that the pasuk in Shir HaShirim, Amarti Elev Isamar, I said I will rise up with the tamar, with the palm, with the lulav. The word E'ele is Rashi Tevis for Aleph, Esroig, Ayin, Arava, Lamed, Lulav, Hey, Hadas. Says the Shla, Esroig is Rashi Tevis, Al Tivoyeni Regel Ga'ava. Do not bring me to arrogance. But the stipler adds, Lulav is Rashi Tevis, V'taher Libenu Le'avdecha Be'emes. Anaf eitz avos. Avos is Rashi Tevis. Tarhiveni benafshi ois. Embolden my soul with spiritual strength. Arvei nachal. Nachal is Rashi Tevis. Nafshenu chikis al Hashem. My soul yearns for God. So the four minim are allude to four beautiful concepts. Lulav represents the quest for purity of heart. The anafitz avos, the hadasim, allude to a request that Hashem should embolden our soul with spiritual energy. Nachal represents our quest, our seeking, our yearning for Hashem. And the esrog represents a tefillah that we should not be brought to arrogance. Al tivayeni regel ga'ava. So, one of these doesn't belong here. Of these four tefillos, one of them is a bit different than the others. The lulav, the hadas and ravas all represent a request for a spiritual yearning. And the esrog is merames and alludes to a request not to be brought to arrogance. That seems to be somewhat out of place. But clearly it isn't. Clearly it fits into the theme of our quest to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Firstly, as much as we want to yearn for Hashem and pine for Him and elevate ourselves, but we always have to be careful that we don't have the great detriment and we don't have something that holds us back, and that is gaiva. Because as we know, humility is something which engenders the Shechina, and the stipler actually writes that all questions and emunah and all sveikos and all doubts in belief of Hashem are rooted in the midah of gaiva, because Hashem says, Ein ani v'hu yachal lador b'makom echad. So Hashem is repelled by gaiva. By the same token, humility is the characteristic that is needed to engender the Hashras HaShechina. So yes, while we're seeking and we're yearning for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, at the same time we also have to be equally as vigilant to make sure that we rid ourselves of the trait of gaiva in order to allow our neshama to focus and to be yearning for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But we could add another very important element, and that is sometimes elevation in ruchnius itself can bring a person to gaiva. It's interesting. The Gemara in Taanis tells us the story of a Tana who he had just come from the house of his Rabbi, and he had learnt a lot of Torah, and gava libai, he felt arrogant because of it. So here, the person is, this great tzaddik is experiencing arrogance from ruchnius. Sometimes spiritual attainment and sometimes achievement in ruchnius, it itself could be a cause of gaiva. In fact, in Rabbi Binyamin Zilber's Sefer, TorahAnytime, he brings from the Gra and the Avnei Eliyahu for the tefillah of the regalim, that the Gemara Nedarim, Darshan Daf Nun Hey Darshans the pasuk, Umi midbar matana, umi matana nachaliel, umi nachaliel bamais. That when a person makes himself hefker like a midbar, the Torah is given to him as a matana. And once the Torah is given to him as a matana, nachalu kel, he has a godly divine inheritance. and once he has a godly inheritance, he is elevated l'gedula, b'mais. But if he's arrogant, Hagai, the Rebbeinu Shalom will cut him down. So, says the Gra, from here we see, and Rabbi Yamin Zilber highlights this, that somebody could reach the highest madregos of limud haTorah, of mastery over the Torah. But nevertheless, even though the Torah is given to him as a matana, and he's not over any da'iraisas or drabbanans, he's just magbia atzmai, then Hashem is mashbel him. But think about it, when was he magbia atzmai? His arrogance came from his elevation, not in physical achievement, not in gashmias, not because he was wealthy. He was arrogant because he was spiritually great. Sometimes spiritual greatness itself is a danger. So while we're taking the lulav and we're seeking v'tar libenu l'avdecha be'emes and the hadassim of tarhiveni b'nachalois and the aravos navshenu chiksal Hashem, that itself could cause gaiva. So we need the esrog in our elevation of ruchnius to make sure that itself does not bring us to arrogance, as the Chida writes. The Chida says in Berkei Yosef about the obligation to learn Musar every day. He says that Talmidei Chachamim, who have great mastery of Torah and write Chidushay Torah, they're in even greater danger of Gaiva. And therefore, at the time of our great spiritual elevation, we always need the Esrog, the Al Tiviyeni Regal Gava, to keep us in check. Wishing everyone a guten Yom Tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.